It's Wealth by Design time here on Edge Radio Australia. By my right, certainly not my right-hand man, because quite frankly, he's too illustrious for this. It's true, mate. Let's face it. If anything, I'd be an apprentice to be your right-hand man.
Yeah,
really
mate.
so.
That sounds very good, especially given that we've gone live. So keep that line going.
Keep that line going. Okay. Keep the admiration going. We're just talking off air about doing your own advertising. So there we go.
Great self-promoters.
Absolutely, mate. Now, speaking of self-promoters, we've got quite a guest on today.
We have got a gun on today, mate. No doubt about it.
Would you like to get in and do the introductions?
Yeah, I certainly would. We've got the fabulous Leigh Farnell here today. Welcome, Leigh.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, Aaron.
Great to see you. A bit of background. Leigh and I have known each other for a while now. And as you know, the Wealth by Design crew, we're all about working in with business people, trying to help them make them more profitable, find the experts and to help in various areas, whether it be accounting or legal or business development.
Okay.
And that's what we're talking about today with Leigh, because Leigh's been around doing some fabulous work in helping business people find out where the weak links are, dig in, and there's always a bit of psychology involved, because you might be paying yourself a miserable 80 grand a year out of your business.
Sure.
But you should be paying yourself 250 grand.
You don't value yourself.
Yeah. And if you don't believe it, then you're not going to get it. So Leigh gets into a fair bit of that.
Okay. Fantastic.
And work with lots of successful businesses. And it's a absolute pleasure to have you on board today, Leigh. So thanks for coming.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me here. In fact, I literally was on the phone with one of my old clients from 1992. We've been mates since 1992, and he went on to float his business on the London Stock Exchange. So we've been mates ever since. We have a good old joke about his hair. He says when he goes travelling, he's got one suitcase for his clothes and another suitcase for his hair products.
Well, we don't have that problem.
No. I'm interested in hair, or lack of it. But
we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. Yeah. So I've been around a long time. 40 years of helping. I work at probably about over 400 different businesses, everything from single coaching, consulting businesses right through to when we worked with Telecom Australia way back in the 80s when they had 90,000 people. So I've done work with all sorts. In fact, I literally the other day in Perth, an old mate from the Telstra days, I helped him set up Mobitel in Sri Lanka. It's been going for 40 years now.
Crikey.
VJ's just retired, and he has now written a movie that he produced, and it's won 6 international awards.
My God.
So the great thing about what I do is we have long-term relationships, and we see the growth. In fact, again, I was on the phone to another mate the other day. When he started, he had about 3 or 4 employees. He sold the business out and made about 14 to 20 million bucks.
Okay.
So
not a small amount.
No. He's pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty happy with that. So I've learned a bit over the time, and that's what we say in business. They call it professional practice. I mean, basically, you're actually practicing and learning with every client you work with. I'm sure you're the same, Jeff. And
absolutely.
You're the same,
Very much
Aaron.
so.
And it's like we learn, but we bring that experience and lessons to the next client and the next client. So there's kind of an exponential growth, and compound interest. There's a compound interest benefit in work with client A. We take some of those lessons to client B, and 300, 400 clients later, I've learned a bit over the years. About
what a knowledge bank you've got after that length of time.
That's I had hair when I started, so it's all that knowledge is. By the way, folks, I'm looking like Johnny Cash here today. The boys said wear something bright, and I've done the wrong thing. So if you can't see, if all you can see is my head, I look like one of those French mime artists, do I? Yeah.
Mate, look, Johnny Cash is pretty cool. You're doing all right.
Thanks,
okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you the hat.
My name's Johnny Cash. That's right. Yeah.
No, go Johnny. Yeah, so I just thinking maybe some practical examples, Leigh, and there's lots of them. But can you highlight some of the key sort of levers that you commonly will need to pull to help get a business from this level to that level?
Well, look, there's a book years. Some of these things, of course. One of the great experiences I had was I did a lot of work with Deming when Deming started here in Perth.
Okay.
And let me take that as a great case study. The Publoms, as a family, bought the Deming franchise rights for Western Australia or Perth. I can't remember what it was, certainly Perth. And they're about to start the shop. And I said, what we do, and this is something I learned when we did the Telstra work, start with the vision, start with the end in mind.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget, we did the workshop in the Hilton Hotel. It was a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. The family there, and literally, I've done a lot of work over the years in the area of neuro-linguistic programming, which
Okay.
comes back to the point I was saying to you off air, as Tony Robbins said, which is a great principle, that business success is 20% skills and systems, but 80% psychology.
I 100% agree with that.
Thank you.
We actually
Yeah,
we have
so
a
true.
show here about NLP as well.
Great.
Big believer in it. Well, yeah, I suppose new to the space.
Yep.
But it's just it's such a great way of harnessing your skills, because you might be the best at your gig, but if you don't have the self belief and you don't write it in a way that you'll actually turn those thoughts into action, then you'll go nowhere.
Yeah. So when we started the Telstra work, I joined a consulting team, and about 8 or 9 of the people on the team had been master practitioners in NLP. So they'd literally trained with Bandler and Grinder back in the 1970s, early 1980s.
Just going back. Yeah.
It is. So these guys, it's a body of knowledge around how to, one, communicate with others, how to communicate with yourself, how to model success. And so Tony Robbins has literally built, I note the other day, he has a net worth of $600 million. He's literally built his net worth, his whole career, on what he learnt from Bandler and Grinder. So, and then teaches it, of course. He calls it neuro-associative conditioning, but it's exactly the same thing.
Sure.
So the whole principle there of 80% psychology, let's just start with that, in terms of belief systems, self-talk, which goes as far back as Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, and the power of positive thinking, and the power of the mind control, the De Silva method. And so most business owners, first of all, one of the hard pieces they need to understand is that the book I was going to refer to that I picked up out of Deming that time was The E-Myth. I don't know if you guys remember.
No, I don't know.
Michael Gerber, The E-Myth.
The E-Myth.
And Gerber says, one of the shocking truths, folks, this is a hard one, get ready for this one, is when you make what he called the entrepreneurial seizure. I'm sick of working for this bloody boss. I've had enough. I'm going to start my own business. You know, whether you're a plumber or an accountant or a lawyer, so you have an entrepreneurial seizure.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm going to go start my own business. And then he says, within a short period of time, you go, shit, I might be working for an idiot. You know, and in fact, Robert Kiyosaki also was one of my mentors. Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. One of his books, Cash Flow Quadrant, he talks about the quadrant. You start as employee, then self-employed, where in both cases you're selling time for money.
Sure.
But until you get to the point of going, I'm wanting to run a business that can run without me, then I don't have a business. And so one of the things we need to do, and these are shocking truths, and Gerber talks about this, is you have to go, if I'm self-employed and I'm not planning on building a business, I'm trapped. All of a sudden I'm working 70, 80 hours a week. Sure. I don't have holidays. And, you know, you go to these business networking functions and say to go, oh, mate, I haven't had a holiday for 5 years. Haven't seen the kids. You know, the kids just got married. But I've been so flat out, you know, because they're handcuffed to their business. And really what they are, and I'm talking to myself at times as well here when I'm saying this, is they're limited by their own thinking. They don't realise, our own thinking is in fact the prison.
Okay.
So I literally had a conversation with a guy after one of the business networking businesses the other day. He's in a recruiting business, and he goes, I've hit a ceiling at my income level. I said, well, what number have you got in your head that you want to hit? He goes, well, if I could make about 100 grand, I'll be pretty happy. Well, I say, my background, by the way, I came into Perth to do a master's degree in physical education because I wanted the world to be fit and healthy. So a lot of sports science comes into what I do as well. And so take this, if you set the high jump bar at 1 foot, you're not going to jump 6 foot. And the same in business. You said, I want to make 100 grand. Great. Well, you might make 100, you might make 110, you might make 115, but you're not going to make 500.
You're not.
You know? And so part of NLP talks about model the success of those you want to be like, which is
completely understand that
belief that Tom Hopkins has as well, which he said, I never forget, he used to have a shower card, you had affirmations, and the number one affirmation was never take advice from anyone more messed up than you are. Which
you won't take a whole lot of advice then, would you?
Well, in my case, yeah. No, but I mean,
I'm talking about myself. Self-reflection.
Well, there's a guy called now what's his Ray Dalio. He's a
Right.
multi-billionaire, one of the most successful hedge fund managers.
Yes.
This guy's super smart, and he says believability index. Everyone can have an opinion, but who are you believing?
Yes. And who believes you?
And who believes you? Which again is a whole other thing as well. So I've been talking too much. I don't know.
No, not at all. Just a question's popped up here, and I thought, we'll bring that
sure.
up. So thank you, Lisa, for this fantastic question. Leigh, do you have any specific demographic of client that you like to work with?
Good question, Lisa. I mean, in most cases, I work with people who have sales teams. And funnily enough, when this is a great exercise we all should be doing is who is your ideal client? Who's your ideal avatar?
Sure.
And what I've found over the years, my ideal avatar is a CEO or an MD or a business owner that often has a scientific or an engineering or a left brain kind of background. And at the same time, often they'll have an MBA or they've done education. So they value education, but they realize, you know what, this sales area is not my area. And to a certain extent, even running teams, I'm pretty good at it, but I still can get better. So the ideal avatar for me, Lisa, is someone with a sales team. Ideally might have 5, 10, 15, 20 or even more people. And sometimes, like I did work with a construction company over the last couple of years, and it wasn't so much working with the sales team, it was actually a project management team who worked with clients, but the project management team's responsibility was to generate good relationships, obviously get the projects done on time and on budget, but at the same time, where there are opportunities to get more work from that client. So they needed to have a business development mindset.
Makes sense.
And I even did some work with a group of scientists in the area of, what was it called? Seismic. They blast things and get sound coming back and they can map the ground. So those guys were scientists, to introduce them to how do you professionally generate business and identify opportunity. Because again, these guys were master's degree, but little or no exposure to a professional way to generate business. And in my world, I go, Lisa, in the ideal world, everybody in the business should be a salesperson. Now, I don't mean you're closing deals, but you are influencing. So when someone says, what do? You better have a good answer, an answer that actually gets people. Just tell me more about that.
Well, everybody who works in the business, in my eyes, needs to be walking out and advertising for the business, and that's part of the sales process.
Well, you've got that T-shirt on.
Exactly right.
I like it.
I wear this in the shower.
I know you do.
Pretty much, it's important. And I mean, okay, granted, for me, I've got a vested interest, but other people in a business, it's great for them to feel like they've got part ownership. They're part of the success, however you want to do that.
Yeah.
So if they love what they do, or they're passionate about it, or they just quite frankly enjoy working there, they will help promote the business, and that's part of the sales process.
At the same time, years ago, I did a program with Robert Kiyosaki called Money and You, and a lot of the work they did was based on the work of Buckminster Fuller. And Fuller said, words are tools. Like in NLP, words are tools. So it's called neuro-linguistic, the linguistics. And so what we find often is, and I'll take one of the real estate companies I did a lot of work with, you've got this beautiful website with a whole lot of great words on it. You've got beautiful brochures with a whole lot of words on it that say what they do and how they do it and what they value and how they go about doing what they do. Yet when you talk with the actual sales rep, person representing the company, not one of those words come out of their mouth.
Yeah, not linked.
Not linked. So one of the things we want is people taking some of those beautiful words and using them, because we then say, what do people buy? They buy confidence and they buy certainty. So one of our principles is, if you don't give people a sales system to work to, in terms of NLP, giving them a model or a strategy, they make up their own. And invariably, that's not necessarily the best.
It's a bit dangerous. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. Geez, a lot of value to what you've said. I'm sitting here, I'm sort of soaking it in. And what you said earlier about, raising your limit as far as, not setting yourself all these unnecessary limits in life. It's a case of, the old, shoot for the stars, you might hit the moon, kind of a routine, let's face it. So it's just, I love the psychology of this. It's really important.
Well, one of the quotes, and again, I've been, 40 years or more in this game. So I'm a great reader, an observer, an absorber of what do the greats do.
Yeah.
And one of the great quotes that I've used and do use from the great Vince Lombardi, the Green Bay Packers super coach, he said, perfection is unattainable. But in fact, he said, gentlemen, perfection is unattainable. But if we shoot for perfection, if we chase perfection, we'll catch excellence.
Oh,
I like that.
Do you like that?
I like that.
Isn't it beautiful?
What a beauty.
I actually feel good about myself because I say something rather similar. Good. So there you go. But that's better. It's a little bit more refined than what I say.
Well, what I'm doing, what I've done in the last 6 to 12 months, you guys know I swim every morning at North Cottesloe, and people would say things, and I'd go, that should be on a T-shirt. That should be on a T-shirt. So I've literally set up a business called That's a T-Shirt Company.
Brilliant.
And so inspiration, we call it the most empowering apparel on the planet. So chase perfection, catch excellence is on one of the T-shirts.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So that's
they've become the bumper sticker of today, haven't they? Right?
Correct.
So
I'm doing it with hoodies, T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts, caps, coffee cups, because what I'm saying to people is, and again, this is again from the Cialdini's book on influence and persuasion, is when a person wears it, and on the back of it, by the way, it says, dear person behind me, I'm wearing a message over my heart I'd like you to see. So just imagine a person going, chase perfection, catch excellence. What the hell does that mean? Now you have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I saw that on the back of someone's T-shirt, I'm going to go out of my way to walk around. I'm going to make sure that I catch whatever's written on the front.
Yes.
And you're spot on. It will start a conversation.
Yes.
Exactly what you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
What Cialdini found, again, Lisa, I don't know if you're still watching, but I don't know if you read the book. It's called, you read it, The Psychology of Influence and Persuasion.
I who?
A guy called Robert Cialdini is a PhD from the University of Arizona.
Right.
And Cialdini pulled all of this research. You read, it's fascinating. When you read it, you go, in fact, he says, what gets people to say yes? That doesn't mean you're manipulating, although he says, it's not to be used to manipulate, but he talks about what he called levers of influence. Sometimes he called them weapons of influence. He said there were 6. I may not remember them all, but one of the ones that the T-shirts activates is a principle called the principle of consistency and commitment. In other words, when a person says, I want to get fit, well, the moment they say I want to get fit, now I've got to do something about it. The moment you verbalize it,
that's right.
I'm gonna save more money this year, or I'm gonna hit 200 grand or 500 grand or 2 million or 10 million, whatever that. As soon as you verbalize, you can, if something's when it's in the dark recesses of the mind, it's like I don't have to say, I haven't told anyone.
You can deny it, can't you?
You can deny it.
Yeah.
The moment you verbalize it and put it out there.
Put it out there.
So by wearing it on your T-shirt, that's one of the vehicles, or even on a coffee cup. One of the coffee cups is money magnet. Money magnet.
Yeah.
Well, shit. If it says money magnet, what do I do to become a money magnet? Person, what do you mean money? Well, now I've got and NLP says the mind hates an unresolved loop. When you open up a loop, the example they use in unresolved loop is you see someone and they say, "G'day, Aaron, how you going?" You go, "G'day, mate." And your brain, it still works on it subconsciously. And at 2 a.m, you go, "It was Wayne. It was Wayne. My God, what are you
It's
saying?"
like he's reading my mind.
Right?
Hang on. It happens all the time.
Yeah. But so the moment you go, how am I going to be a money magnet? How am I going to create more wealth?
Yeah, you're looking for that answer, aren't you?
Your brain is working on it consciously and subconsciously. And then, of course, you start having conversations with people. Well, how are you going to be? Well, I'm thinking what I'll do is, because your brain starts to work on it. So the idea of the T-shirt business is kind of to support what I do. But either way, I'm in the business of empowering. How do I empower people? And I'm sure you guys are in the same boat. How do we empower people to realize their full potential? So in your case, Jeff, in terms of wealth by design, you want to empower people, give them the power, the permission, the tools, and in your case as well, hey, you know what? It actually is possible, because part of empowerment is saying it's actually possible for you to do it. And in a lot of cases, business, you mean it's possible for me to earn more than 100 grand? It's possible for me to have, double my income? Well, it is. But the first thing is you have to believe that the high jump you can go higher. You can run faster or whatever it is you want to do.
Can I butt in with one of my ridiculous car stories?
Please do.
As far as the jumping high.
Hit us.
I know it's hard to believe looking at this athlete's body in front of you, but I used to actually be a professional rally driver.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, I jumped from a relatively sort of entry level kind of car to one of the top 5 cars in the country. I didn't do the baby steps. I just decided to go whole.
Well, that's a high jump up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of that kind of attitude. But where I'm going to go on this is that, so obviously I had to raise my bar to go to that level.
Yes.
But the interesting thing happened for me anyway is this, that when going from this, little 2-wheel drive, non-turbo to this, fire-breathing monster, that 4-wheel drive and incredibly fast. When I did events in both, then I would jump back into the 2-wheel drive car and I raised my limit of speed. Now, when I was in the 2-wheel drive car before I experienced the turbo 4-wheel drive, I thought I was on the limit. I thought I was achieving what I could achieve out of that vehicle. But then when I actually said to myself, well, hang on, now I know the limit's actually here, not here.
Yes.
I gained that. And psychologically, that changed me completely in the way I went about my business.
Well, again, coming back to Cialdini, one of the things he talks about is in primitive tribes, when they take a young boy, let's say the age of 12 or 13 or 14, take him out for 2-3 months into the bush, and all of a sudden he's sleeping on rough ground, he's putting up with cold, he's doing extra hard work.
Yeah.
He comes back from that experience a different person.
Agreed.
Right to the point where in their case, part of most traditional tribes is he commits to being a warrior for that tribe. In other words, he publicly verbalizes, I am here for the tribe to survive. Not, I'm a 13-year-old boy and I'll do my best for my mum and dad. So no, you are now a man, you are now responsible, you have other responsibilities. So his whole paradigm and and then like in your case with the car, your whole image of yourself changes. So part of wealth creation and part of a business growing is that the business owner has to go from saying, well, I'm a struggler at 50 grand or 100 grand to I'm building enterprise to the point where I might, like in case my mate who sold the business for 14 million or whatever the number was, I think he ended up with 70 or 80 licensees, what he called partners around Australia. But when he started, he had 3 or 4 employees.
Yeah. And that scalability, the ability is always there, but the practical steps to actually do it must be a massive mind block for so many people. Well, and the people that can help them scale through that and work physically how to put those strategic steps in place. Is that something you do, Leigh?
Absolutely, man. I mean, the beautiful. In fact, with this particular guy, one of the things I did when my other client was floating on the London Stock Exchange, because the E-Myth, and even before the E-Myth, the work we did with Telstra, we based a lot of our work on the work of Edwards Deming. Deming was the guy that went into Japan after the Second World War. He was a statistician, and he said even before the Second World War, he said to Ford and General Motors, guys, 94% of your problems in this business are based on system problems. Yet when something goes wrong, you blame the people.
Right. Yeah.
And he said 94% are due to the systems, 6% are due to the people. So stop blaming the people, start working on and improving the systems. And because GM and Ford were making so much money, they said, I'll get stuff, we're not interested. But MacArthur, the guy that was responsible for the Marshall Plan going back into Japan after the Second World War, got Deming over there. And Deming said to the Japanese industrialists, well, listen, as we rebuild this, we need to be focusing on a systems-based, he called it total quality management approach, so that we get our teams, the people doing the work, improving the systems, and not just improving them once, but then going, how do we continuously and never ending? And so the Japanese call it Kaizen.
Yes.
Change for the better, continuous and never ending improvement. So we take those principles, a systems-based approach. So everything's a system. Marketing's a system. Meetings are a system. Recruiting's a system, because you talk to a small, medium business person and go, mate, you don't know the people I have to work with. You go, well, what's your recruiting system? What's your induction system? What's your ongoing measurement, management, motivation system? When we look at all those, it's not going to take, and of course, in our case, as we say, a consultant is often the person that goes in and uses your watch to tell you the time. The first thing we do is diagnose. We go in and ask the people what's going on in this business. A bit like the doctor with the stethoscope, cough. Yeah, it doesn't take too long. The people already know because they're suffering the 6 systems.
Yeah, one of those systems has to be the whole cash flow modelling component, right?
Absolutely.
You go and look at the numbers, the balance sheet, and profit loss. That's all part of your service as well.
Yeah. In fact, one of my clients the other day is an accountant. He said, "Leigh, you know what? You could have done that even more." I said, "Thank you." In terms of my own Kaizen, I do that. In fact, what I do is I get one of my accounting people who's even smarter than me to go, "What do you see?" Because well, you're probably the same, Jeff. You look at a spreadsheet or a P&L, a balance sheet, and you can immediately start to see where are the insanities in here. It's like, where are the tumors or where are they unhealthy? What's it telling us? From my point of view, what I'm particularly interested in is where did they get their top 20 clients?
Okay. Yep.
Invariably,
Right.
Where it's quite, again, coming back to the consultant, I'm not a genius. And a lot of these principles and tools that I use, I've collected over the years and practiced. I suppose a bit like a doctor, really. You go to medical school, you learn from the other 500 years that have gone on before you.
Sure.
So, in fact, for this particular accountant that you actually know, I said, tell me your top 20 clients, and let's go through the pattern. Again, NLP talks about pattern. What are the patterns here? Success leaves clues. So those 20 clients, particularly the 20 most profitable clients, where did they come from? And what did you do and say? And you'll see a pattern emerging,
Right,
which tells you, well, why don't we just do more of that? Forget doing anything new.
Well, it comes back to those systems. Simple as that.
Correct.
And look, McDonald's isn't successful because it makes great burgers.
That's right.
It has great systems.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So true. It's just taking the mindset, because a lot of these small businesses started in the backyard.
Yeah.
They started in the garage, right?
For sure.
And there's a fabulous guy called Sir Roderick Carnegie that you would know of, at least, and he was very, very clear on this. And often talks about it. Not that he's in the public profile as much as he is today, but been an advisor to governments and he's an international guy. But he basically said the fundamental problem with a lot of Australian businesses is the fact that the owners don't know how to run the businesses.
Yeah.
It's a management thing. They haven't done any formal training. They haven't found the right people to help set the systems up correctly. And they're either, a part of a unhealthy percentage of foreclosures of businesses just go out of business.
Well, you know what? You might be an amazing plumber, right? Really, really good at your job, and you think, I'm going to go out on my own. Doesn't mean you're an amazing businessman, right?
No.
That's the difference. And,
Yeah.
and I mean, you watch a lot of companies where people who have great business skills come in and, clean up, basically. That's okay. You've got the great skills. You've got, a good client list, but you're not making money. They put in the systems. They use that knowledge. Like I've said 1,000 times, be the dumbest guy in the room. Be that sponge. Take in this information.
Yep.
But then you've got the right people. And humility is an important part of it. Don't think that this is my opinion anyway. You cannot be the master of everything. Get people involved who are better at these particular roles than you.
Yeah. Another question I've got for you, Leigh, and we see this in the financial services sector where technology is outpacing regulation, and that's definitely the case with the digital wealth industry. It's a $3 trillion industry now, and it's not even regulated in any country in the world. It's quite extraordinary. They've just started to have exchange traded funds for Bitcoin and Ethereum in the States, but the whole industry, there's no advice legally can be given. It's all about just spreading information.
Yeah.
So that's the tech piece, but the AI tech piece is going to start to come. It already is being used by businesses to help improve production and add efficiencies. And you've gone 80%, attitude, 20% the rest. In that 20%, do you see a real value in embracing the whole AI tech to help improve efficiency in that section, in that 20% section?
Well, Jeff, in the first instance, let's take the psychology part. I mean, there's a whole group of people that, when it comes to AI, go, well, I don't need to know anything about it. So there's, first of all, you have to be open, coming back to your point, Aaron.
You did right. You've nailed
an
it.
open mind. I mean, there's that old great principle of, the mind is like a parachute, only operates when it opens. So one of the first things I say to people,
I like that. I've never heard that.
I've soaked all this stuff up. So,
Lee, that's yours. You own that.
That's another T-shirt. That's another T-shirt. That's a T-shirt, folks. So one of my first questions to any potential client is, are you coachable?
Okay.
Yep.
And of course,
good question.
Yeah. Well, I've worked with people. It's only taken 20 years or more to work out. You better ask that question, because you're assuming they're coachable.
Yeah.
But
That's a really good point.
and again, it opens up the loop where they have to go, am I coachable? Now, I've literally had people go, I don't think, no. Or when they pause, I worry.
The pregnant pause.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute. It's a pertinent question.
Yeah, it's a pretty important question. Are you coachable?
Yeah.
So again, and even from a sales point of view, an NLP, it's an embedded command where you go, are you open to that possibility? Are you open to the possibility of coming on Edge Radio? Are you open to the possibility of growing your business? Are you open to the possibility of creating wealth with Wealth by Design? Are you open to the possibility of considering digital currency investment?
Yes.
So one, you have to be open to that possibility. Then secondly, the AI, as I literally went to that AI seminar that David Beasley ran there.
Yes.
It was absolutely fantastic.
Everybody spoke so highly of that, by the way.
Ignatius was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a whole pile of them. And I'll come back to a story on that. So even at that seminar, to see what was possible, the use of early on, I would use GPT chat just to come up with a better title for my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone said, you know what, you could actually get it to write marketing copy.
Yep.
Really? So I said, well, I've got this seminar coming up. This is what it's about a bit. Write me some copy. Brrr. Oh my
Now, Lee,
God.
I'm sensitive on this because I'm a copywriter.
Well,
you try to make me unemployed.
Well, and that's the point. I mean, one of my mates is a screenwriter, not VJ, but another guy, and people react. Morally, it's wrong. But it's a bit like saying, and I've thought about this. It's a bit like someone showed a photo of some main street in New York, let's say, early 1900s, and only 10 or 20 years later, that very same street was no horses and all cars. You go, it's morally wrong to have a motor car. We should support the horses. What about all the haymakers?
Yeah, all the haymakers will be out of business.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Now, on that point, exactly on that point. I mean, when it comes to the AI and doing that and taking my job away, but no, I thought first I was like resistant because you had that initial one of defense of yourself, right?
Yes.
And then I thought, no, hang on, I'm going to use this as an asset.
Yes.
So what I'll do now is I'll get AI to actually write something and give me a couple of alternatives, and I'll use it for inspiration.
Yes.
And then I'll clean it up, and then I'll use the psychology and all of the little bits and pieces you do with the copy to make it to hone it. But it's actually a very handy tool, and it saves me a lot of time.
Well,
so having the eyes open to it.
You got to have the eyes open. I mean, and I can't remember who said this, but they said the highest form of ignorance is to reject something you know little or nothing about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
too right.
All I'm doing here is people way smarter than me. In fact, there's another great quote I love. Isaac Newton said, "The reason I have seen so far is because I have stood on the shoulders of giants."
Yeah.
And all I'm doing here is taking people far smarter than me, and I've put it together over 40 years to work with clients. And of course, I don't sit around giving quotes all day, although I will with the T-shirts. But there are people far smarter than me. So, but once you take that and give it to, I mean, it could be a plumber or an accountant, and particularly put it into a systems form, which is exactly what I've done over the years. And again, it wasn't me. It was when a business partner of mine in the early 90s said, "You need to learn how to sell." No, I've been to university. I don't need to learn how to sell. No, I'm not an encyclopedia salesman, a vacuum, pots and pans. I was really reluctant. In fact, I almost going to cold sweats thinking about it. And I went to my first Tom Hopkins seminar. I went, 233 different ways to close. And, but I bought the tapes and went, oh, gee, there's some good stuff in here. I need to learn about, But I eventually came across a book again at Deming. Am I sponsored by Deming? No, I should have Deming across a T-shirt. Bill Leigh, by the way, was chief exec there, and then went on to help set up Dome Coffees.
Right.
He's been a good mate. And then he's got the hotel down at, what's that joint where the flour mill is down the country on the way to Albany? Someone will tell me. I went.
Oh yes, that's the Katanning.
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 He can't help himself. You know, entrepreneurs. By the way, it's just interesting. In itself.
And that's I stayed there. It's bloody good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Again, high standards, doing it right, the staff, everything. But the book I got was one called "The Secrets of the World's Greatest Salespeople."
Right.
And it talked about 4 steps to the sale, and it was meet and greet, discover the need, present solution, close the sale. Gee. That makes sense. And then I, over the time, put the NLP material into the meet and greet, the discovery of the need, presenting solution, close the sale. And then on the back of it, hang on, there's a thing we developed we called the R factor, which said, really, ideally, you can build your business on repeat business and referrals. And if you set the high jump bar and said, I want 80% of my business to come from repeat business and referrals, means at the front end, I don't have to spend as much on marketing and advertising. That's a goal, that's a high jump. So I color coded it. So the yellow zone is everything that happens before you meet the customer.
Right.
Personal development, planning, training, marketing, lead generation, all of that's in the yellow zone. Orange zone it's orange because it's like at the stoplights. We're warming up because we know from an NLP point of view that to the degree you're in rapport with someone, to the degree you connect with someone, is to the degree you can influence them. So again, Cialdini did a fantastic study where he said, we're going to do this experiment. We're breaking you into 2 groups. One group has to go and just do a deal, negotiate and sell and come to an arrangement and do a deal. And the other group has to spend 5 to 10 minutes getting to know the person. Don't talk anything about business. Get to know the person, connect as a human being first, and then begin talking about the deal. What do you think happened?
Well, build the trust and develop the relationship.
Yeah.
And the deal will follow.
That's right. So what they found was the people spending the 5 to 10 minutes at the front end, not only did they get a higher conversion rate of actually doing a deal, but the deals tended to be 10 to 30% or even more greater.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the studies that 30 odd years ago, there was a study in Australia, New Zealand, and the US, and it found particularly Australia had a huge spike in the fact that people will do business with people that they trust and they have a personal relationship. Very big difference. So the whole idea of making that close, it being a defined thing, quite frankly, if you've done the foreground, if you like, if you've built things up through there and you've got that rapport and somebody feels trust with you, well, the close just it closes itself.
That's right. That's why people say, well, Leigh, I want you to teach my people to close more. You're better off teaching them to open better. And then, not the least of which, whether it be McDonald's and other places, they say, the more you market, the less you sell. The more people know about you and trust you and like you. People don't go to McDonald's and go, what's in the hamburger? Where did you get the lettuce from? There's a whole...
I've met some strange types.
Yeah. So my colour zone, I colour-coded it. Yellow, meet and greet, orange, blue zone, where we say swim deep to truly understand the need rather than ask one question, then the untrained person asks one question, then starts going on and on about their product.
Blue's the right colour for that. D.
That's right. We're going swimming.
Water.
We're going swimming.
Oh,
so he's psychological stuff.
Oh, yeah, I know.
that.
That's right.
That was lethal, Leigh.
Yeah,
this is on to you.
Lethal. Red zone is when it's red because you want them to start to get hot and excited about the solution, because then you're connecting. We have a mechanism we call POMVIC. It's a questioning process. So it's a scaffold. In education, like my wife's an early childhood teacher, and teachers have what they call scaffolds as to how you teach people. So we've used a lot of educational psychology in the creation of this system. So blue zone is the questioning, POMVIC, and then the red zone is the presentation, the connecting of the problem you said you had with how we can help you. And the establishment of value, how it's going to make more money, save you time, make your life easier. And so then we work on when it comes to green zone, action, let's commit to action. Then if you've worked it right, you've sold on value, not on price, which, is an old sales saying, people only buy on price if you let them, but you want to be talking about value. And then on the back of that then becomes purple zone, which is the customer service, the relationship you build off the back end, the follow-up, and the repeat business and the referrals. So I've systematized the whole thing. And one, so I don't forget. I originally did it for myself because, my brain runs off. It makes me follow the tram tracks.
Yeah.
But having...
Keeps you honest.
Exactly. We used it across 13 countries across Asia. So not only have we done it around Australia,
Right.
we won Best Sales Training in Australia twice by Training Australia magazine, the LearnX Awards. And one was here at community newspapers, helping community newspapers years ago. I'm trying to remember who the other one was. I can't remember. But anyway, we did it. And then I used it 13 countries across Asia. So Japan, India, China. And that company had 3 years of sales records.
Okay.
So I told you to bring the marketing royalty in today.
Royalty, all right. I mean, and I love the fact that these systems are working no matter the culture.
Yeah.
So taking it to other countries where culture, because sales and any marketing has got a cultural element.
Yeah.
But if the systems are that good, they translate.
It was beautiful. And of course, when you give it to the Indians and the Chinese, well, actually all of them were so good. I think back to people in Taiwan, Korea. They took it and again, Kaizen, they did it even better, and they tailored it slightly to their particular countries, but that it showed. And in fact, I've got some beautiful testimonials out of the head of the Chinese company. He said, what you've done is you've broken it down and made it systematizable and teachable, because they said we grew our sales team by 30% and then sales went up even more. So it's like, how do you go from 3 salespeople to say 20 salespeople? We need to have what we call an in-house sales academy.
Okay.
Like McDonald's. Again, I've done work with McDonald's as well.
Oh, hang on. Right now, I feel like a burger and a book. I mean,
Well,
he's
take the book first.
I'm joking about that, just with the Deming thing. That's all.
Yeah. Now, listen, I thought while we were talking about AI before,
yes,
whether either of you, gentlemen, had come across something that came across my desk the other day.
Mm.
So it's a bit of software, and one of my clients sent it to me. I did a file note from a meeting and covered off on a whole bunch of stuff about what our role is in the Wealth by Design world, working with people like Leigh and Edge Radio, because we're advertisers and we support your business, and all the other different classes of individuals that we work with. Right. And there was components in there about the dysfunctionality of the financial planning system and interference with governments and the crossover of technology when it comes to the digital wealth space and regulation, a whole range of stuff. So it was about, I don't know, it was probably about a page of stuff. Now, this bloke asked me who I'd sent this to you. It was a file note on an email. And he said, mate, have you heard about this AI software? And I said, well, probably not. He said, I'll send you a clip. And what it's done, it's grabbed all of the content of my email and it's turned it into an inquisitive talk show with 2 people.
Wow. And
they've totally analysed all my content. And they've turned it into, okay, well, based on our source, Johnny, this is a very interesting one we've come across our desk today, and we're talking about this and this. And she goes, that's very interesting. Let's do a deep dive into that point.
Amazing.
It is
extraordinary.
I know.
And I just couldn't believe how good it is. Yep. It's even got the inflections and the nuances. So it's just audio. It's not a video.
Yeah.
And it's 100% AI. And it's just like a top level of TV finance guru couple have done a complete analysis. But the whole thing was produced within, he said it took 11 minutes to turn this into a talk show.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this could work for you.
Yeah,
this could work for you. It could work for your business.
Sure.
The stuff that you do. So I'm really keen I'm going to send it to both of you after it. And I'll give you the content, take the names out and stuff for privacy.
Of course.
And then I'll give you the clip, the audio clip.
Sure.
And I really, really love your feedback on it.
All right.
Because it is just extraordinary.
No, well, two things, or 3 things. One, someone one of my website guy put me onto the Fathom software, Fathom, so that every Zoom call, it automatically summarizes and takes the action points.
Yeah. I thought I put you onto that. Was it me?
My website guy. But thank you for that.
It's a beauty.
Take
I've
credit, take credit.
been raving about it to you for ages.
There's that one. And then at the David's seminar the other day, Ignatius, one of the guys in the room has a podcast. I want my ears pricked up and he said, I want to get how would I get a musical sting for the podcast? And Ignatius said, tell me a bit about it. And the guy's talking, and as it worked out, he's making notes in GPT chat.
Yeah.
And then he said, off the back of that, he tells GPT chat, take those notes and make a song out of it.
Okay.
He takes that, turns it into a song. He then pastes the song into another piece called suno.com.
Right.
Yeah.
You say, you want to change any of those lyrics? You go, oh, no, that looks good. Do you want it to be heavy rock? Do you want it to be melodic? Tell what kind do you want it? Tells it what type of and it comes out with 2 different versions. So in the last 3 weeks, I have created 50 different songs.
No way.
Oh, what?
Yeah, no, because a thought comes.
He is Johnny Cash.
No. Well, first of all, I produce love songs to my wife.
Ah, smart man.
There's one. They're all tearjerkers. One's called Far Stronger Together. Years ago, I created all these poems because I just knew the kids are going to grow up, and certain moments would occur. And I remember one day seeing my young daughter and looking at her mum as a baby, and mum looking at her. I went, "Oh, this is a magic moment." I wrote about it, and it was called Good Morning. And I've got all these poems. So I said, I wonder what would happen if I put those poems, told GPT chat to make a song of it, and plonked it into mate, I've created so many. But even just yesterday at the breakfast, someone at the breakfast said, Carpe Diem. One of them goes, what do you mean Carpe Diem? You don't even know Carpe Diem? What the hell? So I went last night and I went, write a song about Carpe Diem.
Yeah.
Well, it's an absolute ripper.
Really?
And by the way, you'll love the one I did. My bookkeeper, I asked her to send me some P&Ls across, and I realised I'm not looking at my numbers enough. You know, we teach people what you measure, you manage. What you measure, you have control over. You don't pay attention to it. I gave myself a little slap around the head, and I said, I'm going to write a song, or tell GPT chat to write a song, and I gave it instructions about the importance of regularly looking at your finances, to keep on top of your finances,
good,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this song came out. It's called Money Don't Lie. It's called Money Don't Lie, the financial fitness song.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to send it to you guys. So
good.
This movement back and forth.
Might actually throw it on air, mate. I mean,
let's share it. I also did one for the sales seminar that I'm doing with David, because it's called Sales Fixes Everything. And it's about having a sales system. And again, from business owner, not being the bottleneck in your business, not being your sales bottleneck, and having a system, and why have a system, and the relationship between a sales system, systems in your business, and scaling so that the business can run without you. And I put notes again into GPT chat around that. It wrote the song, and it's called Get in the River. I think the Cash Flow River.
Okay.
Right.
It's a bloody ripper, if I do say so myself.
Well, Leigh's album will be out next week. We're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, call me Jay-Z or Leigh Z. Yeah.
Leigh Z.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's AI, mate. I'm literally
you're right into
I'm
it.
swimming around in it. But I tell you, the third thing I want to say there is, one of the guys that I swim with is a young, enthusiastic guy in his mid-30s. He was always coming to swimming, talking about AI. And I said to him, mate, if you come across any programs that turn you on, send them to me.
Right.
And so I've got this list of ones. One of them was an example was, he said, there's this one you can talk to as if it's a person, ask it a question, and you can choose male or female voice.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm going to ask this person, this AI, mate, what would you do to grow my business? And it's in an American accent, although I think you can even choose the accent you want.
Good.
It's going, well, what you're going to need to do, Leigh, is choose your ideal client and da-da-da-da. And by the way, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of business are you in? I said, well, actually, I'm actually in the sales and business growth coaching business. He goes, aha, a tricky person. You've asked me the question that you would normally answer, huh? You're a snake charmer, huh?
Oh, my.
This is AI saying
This is
it to
bloody
me.
AI.
I tell you right now, I was, we talk about open-minded and all that kind of thing. I was a little resistant to it, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, as I said before, but for other levels as well. I've seen the Terminator. That's my line, right?
Yeah,
Okay?
right.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, we are using it here at Edge. Okay, we've decided to try and embrace it, and it is just being so good for us. It's enabling us to have things we couldn't have before.
Yes.
And save amazing amounts of time.
Yeah.
And we're always time poor, so the when you can benefit in that area, it's a huge win.
Yeah.
So look, my attitude now is you either jump on board or you're going to be swimming for the rest of your life.
Well, that's the point Ignatius made the other day. If you choose plumber, accountant, lawyer, whatever to go, I'm not going to touch it. Your competitor gets onto it.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the roller skates, and you've got handbrakes.
Yep.
Still on. And so it's so important. Now, one of the guy I literally had coffee with today, who's a person I coached back in 2014 at community newspapers, is now part of another business, sales director.
Mm-hmm.
He says, what I do is I have a meeting with a client, and I think he must make verbal notes, but he makes notes on the meetings of what the client wants. And then he puts those notes into GPT chat and says, come up with a proposal or a quote based on those notes. Brrr, he goes, there's no way I could have come up with a proposal or a quote that good. Now, of course, he can make changes to it, but the time it saves in terms of putting proposals and quotes together, it's unbelievable. I'd never even thought of doing that. I thought, how good's that?
Well, this has gone full circle because we've been talking about systems. I mean, and systems make you efficient.
Yes.
And everything we're talking about here is about creating efficiency.
Yeah.
We're going to have to stop, which is a bit of a shame because I'll tell you right now, we've gone way over time. I don't care. We're going to have you back, Leigh.
Oh, really? We're over time already, are we?
Yeah, look, for sure.
God.
Absolutely,
yeah,
mate.
Sure.
Not that it's a bad thing at all, but I'd love to actually probably get you in and talk to, we've got Terry Messenger here who does an NLP show.
Okay.
I think it'd be very interesting as well. But
Yeah, we could.
now, obviously, people are going to want to get hold of you and have a chat. Best to go through your website, I'm guessing.
Either way, Leigh, tell us where they can find you on your connection.
Well, you can obviously. I'm on LinkedIn. Search Leigh Farnell on LinkedIn. You can search me at leighfarnell.com, a website, but obviously they can contact you at Wealth by Design too.
Come through to Wealth by Design. We'll just flick you straight through.
Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Look, make it even easier. If you're watching right now on our website or listening on our website, your face is going to come up any minute, mate. You can just click on that. It'll take you straight through the website and then straight, obviously, through to Leigh as well.
Leigh's website. Perfect.
You know what? Make life easy.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're using the tech.
Well, guys,
We're walking the talk.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. And thanks for watching out there as well. Again, this is all about empowering people. And it's so great to help. From a financial point of view, empowerment, life empowerment. It's just fantastic. So thanks for having me, guys.
It's an absolute pleasure. We'll get you back, man.
Thanks for being part of Wealth by Design here on Edge Radio.